Today, Archangel Michael is speaking to you, and this message is not random. He says gently, but with urgency, if you choose to skip this moment, I may not be able to reach you again in the same way. Something serious was moving toward your path. My purpose right now is to protect you, to guide you, and to help you see what you could not see before. This is not meant to scare you. This is truth spoken with love. You are not here by accident. If you believe this moment was divinely guided and not random, take a second to like this video. Let that simple action be your act of faith, signaling that you are ready to receive what is being released into your life right now. If you feel someone else needs to hear this message today, share this video now. When you pass this message forward, you multiply the blessing and allow it to reach the soul it was meant for. For a long time, longer than you realize, there has been an attempt to reach your spirit. Quiet nudges, subtle feelings, moments where you felt like something was trying to get your attention. That was not your imagination. That was guidance. And right now, something has shifted. You are not here by accident. You did not just randomly land on this message. Your spirit was guided here, step by step, moment by moment. There is something waiting for you. If you feel led to stay connected to messages like this, subscribe now. Let this be your act of obedience, aligning yourself with the guidance that is meant to reach you in this new season. There is something waiting for you. Something significant. Something that has the power to change the direction of your life in ways you did not expect. So stay with me. Do not rush away. Do not scroll past this moment, because what you are about to understand is something your soul has been waiting for. Take a slow breath right now. Feel your chest rise. Feel your body settle. That heaviness you've been carrying lately. That weight in your thoughts. That quiet pressure you couldn't explain. It's not there without a reason. You are being prepared. Archangel Michael whispers, I am here to protect you. I am here to guide you. And I am here because this soul is ready. If this message confirms what your spirit is already sensing, type Amen in the comments below. Let this be your way of saying, I receive what is meant for me in this moment. And when those words are spoken, something begins to open. A door. Not a physical door, but a spiritual one. A doorway into clarity, into truth, into understanding. For a long time, something has been standing in your way. You may not have seen it clearly. You may not have been able to name it, but you felt it. It showed up as delays, as confusion, as moments where things should have worked, but didn't. As relationships that felt heavy instead of peaceful, as effort that didn't return what it should have. That was not your failure. That was resistance. And now, that resistance is being removed. Archangel Michael says, well, what was hidden is now being revealed. What was blocking them is now being cleared. This is why you feel different. Even if you cannot explain it, something inside you knows that a shift is happening. You might feel a little emotional. You might feel still. You might feel like something is about to change, even if you don't know what it is yet. That feeling is real. Stay with it, because this is the beginning of your turning point. There are moments in life that we choose, and then there are moments that choose us. This is one of those moments. Archangel Michael speaks again, softly but clearly. This soul was guided here for a reason. Not later, not tomorrow, now. Think about that. Out of all the time in your life, out of all the distractions, all the noise, all the different directions you could have taken, you are here, right now. That is not small. That is not random. That is alignment. If you believe this moment was meant for you and your path is being guided, write Amen in the comments. Let this be your confirmation that you trust where you are being led. If you can feel that your life is being aligned in ways you didn't understand before, like this video as an act of faith, let it declare that you trust the process unfolding for you. For a long time, your path has been moving in the background, even when it felt like nothing was happening. Even when you felt stuck. Even when you felt delayed. Even when you questioned if anything was changing at all, things were moving, quietly. Let this be your way of saying, I receive what is meant for me in this moment. And when those words are spoken, something begins to open. A door. Not a physical door, but a spiritual one. A doorway into clarity, into truth, into understanding. For a long time, something has been standing in your way. You may not have seen it clearly. You may not have been able to name it, but you felt it. It showed up as delays, as confusion, as moments where things should have worked, but didn't, as relationships that felt heavy instead of peaceful, as effort that didn't return what it should have. That was not your failure. That was resistance. And now, that resistance is being removed. Archangel Michael says, what was hidden is now being revealed. What was blocking them is now being cleared. This is why you feel different. Even if you cannot explain it, something inside you knows that a shift is happening. You might feel a little emotional. You might feel still. You might feel like something is about to change, even if you don't know what it is yet. That feeling is real. Stay with it, because this is the beginning of your turning point. There are moments in life that we choose, and then there are moments that choose us. This is one of those moments. Archangel Michael speaks again, softly but clearly. This soul was guided here for a reason, not later, not tomorrow, now. Think about that. Out of all the time in your life, out of all the distractions, all the noise, all the different directions you could have taken, you are here, right now. That is not small. That is not random. That is alignment. If you believe this moment was meant for you and your path is being guided, write amen in the comments. Let this be your confirmation that you trust where you are being led. If you can feel that your life is being aligned in ways you didn't understand before, like this video as an act of faith, let it declare that you trust the process unfolding for you. For a long time, your path has been moving in the background, even when it felt like nothing was happening, even when you felt stuck, even when you felt delayed, even when you questioned if anything was changing at all. Things were moving, quietly, carefully, perfectly. There were things happening behind the scenes that you could not see yet. And some of those things were protecting you. Because not everything that didn't work out was meant to hurt you. Some things didn't work out because they were never meant to stay. Archangel Michael says, what left their life was not loss. It was protection. Let that settle in your heart. That opportunity that slipped away. That person who walked out. That plan that didn't come together. You thought it was rejection, but it was redirection. You thought it was delay, but it was timing. You thought something was being taken from you, but in truth, something was being kept away from you for your own good. And now, you are reaching a point where things begin to make sense. Not all at once, not in a loud or overwhelming way, but gently, piece by piece, like light slowly entering a dark room. You begin to see what you couldn't see before. You begin to understand what didn't make sense before. And most importantly, you begin to feel clarity. Archangel Michael steps closer in this moment and says, they are ready now. Let them receive. And when that permission is spoken, something shifts inside you. Your energy changes. Your awareness opens. Your heart begins to recognize that something important is happening. You are not the same person you were even a short time ago. You have grown. You have endured. You have held on even when it was difficult. And that matters more than you realize. Because every moment you stayed strong, every time you chose to keep going, every silent prayer, every quiet hope, it all led you here, to this exact moment. This is not the end of your struggle, but it is the end of confusion. It is the end of not knowing. It is the end of wondering why things felt so heavy for so long. Because now, you are beginning to see the truth. Archangel Michael whispers again. Their life is about to change, but not in chaos, in alignment. This is important, because not every change comes with noise. Some of the most powerful changes happen quietly, without warning, without chaos, without fear. Just a shift, a moment where everything begins to fall into place. That is what is starting now. You may notice it in small ways at first. A sense of calm where there used to be stress. Clarity where there used to be confusion. A quiet confidence where there used to be doubt. These are signs. Signs that your path is opening. Signs that you are moving into alignment. Signs that what was once blocked is now flowing. But here is something you need to understand clearly. This moment requires your presence, not your perfection, not your strength, just your presence. Archangel Michael says, as long as they stay aware, they will not miss what is meant for them. So stay here, stay grounded, stay open, because what is coming next is not just information, it is activation. Something inside you is waking up, something that has been waiting for the right moment. And that moment is now. There are things in life you can clearly see, and then there are things that operate quietly, beneath the surface, without a sound. Not everything that affects your life is visible. Some of the strongest influences are the ones you never notice at first. Archangel Michael speaks with calm authority. There was something around them, not meant to stay. It moved quietly, but it affected everything. Take a moment and think about the past season of your life. There were times when things didn't feel right, not completely wrong, but not fully right either. Moments where your energy felt drained for no clear reason. Situations that left you confused instead of clear. Connections that felt heavy instead of peaceful. You tried to understand it. You questioned yourself. You wondered if you were overthinking or imagining things. But deep down, your spirit knew. Something was off. That feeling was not wrong. It was awareness, because sometimes what blocks you is not obvious. It doesn't come loudly. It doesn't announce itself. It simply exists in the background, affecting your clarity, your decisions, your emotions, and even your direction. Archangel Michael says, what they felt was real. The delay, the confusion, the pressure, it had a source. This is important to understand, because when you don't see the source, you start blaming yourself. You think, maybe I'm not doing enough. Maybe I'm not strong enough. Maybe I missed something. But the truth is, you were carrying something that was never meant to stay with you. It showed up as unexplained delays when you were moving forward, sudden doubts when you were close to clarity, heavy emotions when you were stepping into something better. It created a pattern, a cycle, one where every time you got close to something good, something would shift, and not in your favor. That wasn't coincidence. That was interference, not to destroy you, but to slow you down. And yet, you're still here. You didn't give up. You didn't completely lose yourself. Even in the confusion, a part of you stayed aware. A part of you kept searching for truth. And that is why this moment is happening now. Archangel Michael steps forward and says, that presence no longer has permission to stay. If you are ready to release everything that was blocking your peace, your clarity, and your progress, type Amen in the comments below. Let this be your declaration that what no longer belongs in your life is being removed right now. If you are ready for every hidden block to be removed from your path, like this video right now, let that action be your agreement that your breakthrough is already being activated. Feel that. Something that once had influence no longer does. Something that once caused confusion is losing its hold. This is why your energy has been shifting recently. You may have noticed it. Moments of sudden clarity, a sense of release you couldn't explain, a feeling that something heavy is slowly lifting. That is not your imagination. That is alignment being restored. Because when something that does not belong is removed, your natural state begins to return. Peace, clarity, direction. But here's something deeper. That block was not just external. It also affected how you saw yourself. It made you question your worth, your timing, your path. It made you feel like you were behind, like everyone else was moving forward, and you were stuck. But that was never the truth. Archangel Michael says, they were never behind. They were being protected from moving at the wrong time. If you are ready to move forward with clearer understanding and protection, subscribe to this channel. Let this step align you with the wisdom meant to guide your path from here on. Let that sink in. You were not delayed because you were unworthy. You were delayed because something needed to be cleared first. And now it has been. This is why you are here right now. Because your path is no longer blocked in the same way. The resistance that once stood in front of you is no longer standing. And that changes everything. Have you noticed it? That quiet change inside you? It may not be loud. It may not be overwhelming. But it is there. A subtle shift, a gentle awareness, a feeling that something is different, even if you cannot fully explain it. Archangel Michael whispers, their energy is changing. They are stepping into clarity. This is what happens when alignment begins. It doesn't always come as a big dramatic moment. Sometimes it comes as stillness, as calm, as a quiet knowing that something has shifted. You may feel a sense of peace where there used to be tension, a soft confidence replacing your doubt, a feeling that things are going to be okay, even without proof. This is not random. This is your spirit recognizing that something has changed. If you can feel this shift happening within you, even in a small way, write Amen in the comments. Let this be your way of anchoring this transformation and welcoming the clarity that is now entering your life. If you feel this shift within you, subscribe now as an act of obedience. Let it secure your connection to the messages that will help you stay aligned in this new phase. Think about it like this. For a long time, it was like walking through fog. You could move, but you couldn't see clearly. You could try, but you weren't sure where you were going. Now, the fog is beginning to clear. Not all at once, but enough for you to see what's in front of you. Enough for you to take the next step with confidence. Archangel Michael says, they are not the same as before. They have crossed into a new state of awareness. And with that awareness comes something powerful. Choice. Not the kind of choice that feels forced, but the kind that feels clear. You begin to understand what you want, what you don't want, what feels right, what no longer fits your life. This clarity is a gift. Because before, things felt uncertain. Now things begin to feel aligned. And when you are aligned, you stop chasing what is not meant for you. You stop forcing what doesn't flow. You stop questioning your worth. Because you begin to see yourself clearly. And that changes how everything responds to you. Archangel Michael steps closer and says, the moment they recognize their alignment, everything begins to move differently. This is where your life begins to shift. Not because something outside suddenly changes, but because you have changed. Your energy is different. Your awareness is different. Your presence is different. And life responds to that. You may start to notice opportunities appearing more naturally, conversations feeling more meaningful, decisions becoming easier to make. That is alignment in motion. But there is something you must not do in this moment. Do not doubt the shift. Do not question it just because it feels unfamiliar. Because sometimes, peace feels strange when you've been used to pressure. Clarity feels unfamiliar when you've been used to confusion. Ease feels unusual when you've been used to struggle. But that does not mean it's wrong. It means it's new. Archangel Michael says, do not return to what they have already outgrown. That message is important because when things begin to change, there can be a temptation to go back to what feels familiar, even if it was not good for you, even if it kept you stuck. But you are not in that place anymore. You have moved forward. Even if it doesn't feel big, it is real. And this moment right now is part of that movement. You are not just listening. You are aligning. You are not just hearing words. You are recognizing truth. And the more you stay present, the stronger that alignment becomes. Take a slow breath again. Feel your body. Feel your awareness. You are here. And that matters, because in the next part, you are going to understand something even deeper. What is now opening for you? What is already moving toward you? And how everything is about to begin flowing differently in your life. Something has already begun, even if you cannot fully see it yet, even if you cannot clearly explain it. Something is moving toward you, not slowly, not uncertainly, but with purpose. Archangel Michael speaks with quiet certainty. The path ahead is no longer closed. What was delayed is now being released. Take a moment and feel that. For a long time, it felt like doors were not opening. You tried, you waited, you hoped, but things either slowed down or stopped completely. That season is ending, not because of luck, not because of chance, but because the conditions have changed. What needed to be cleared has been cleared. What needed to be understood has been understood. And now, movement begins. This is the part many people miss. They expect change to feel loud. They expect it to come with a sudden breakthrough, a dramatic shift, or a visible sign. But often, real change starts quietly, like a door unlocking before it opens, like a seed growing before it breaks through the surface. Right now, things are aligning behind the scenes. Opportunities you cannot yet see are forming. Connections you have not yet met are being positioned. Decisions you will soon make are becoming clearer. Archangel Michael says, what is coming is not random, it is prepared. If you believe something prepared and purposeful is now coming into your life, like this video as an act of faith, let it accelerate the flow of what has already been set in motion for you. Feel that truth. This next phase of your life is not something you have to force. It is something you will step into. And when you step into something prepared, it flows differently. It feels different. There is less resistance, less confusion, less struggle, not because everything is perfect, but because it is aligned. You may begin to notice small signs first. A conversation that feels meaningful. An idea that suddenly becomes clear. A sense of direction that wasn't there before. Do not ignore these moments. They are not small. They are indicators. Indicators that your path is opening. Archangel Michael whispers, they are being guided now, step by step. This is important because you don't need to see the entire path. You only need to see the next step. And that step will become clear at the right moment. Not too early, not too late, right on time. There is also something else happening, something deeper. Your desires are becoming clearer. Not the ones shaped by pressure, not the ones influenced by fear, but the ones that truly belong to you. You begin to realize what actually matters, what truly fulfills you, what aligns with your peace. And once you see that clearly, You stop settling. You stop forcing yourself into places that do not feel right. You stop chasing things that do not reflect who you are becoming. Archangel Michael says, they are stepping into what is meant for them, not what they were taught to accept. That is powerful, because for a long time, you may have accepted less than what you deserved. Less clarity, less peace, less alignment. But now, that awareness is changing. You are no longer willing to stay in what drains you. You are no longer comfortable with confusion. You are no longer aligned with anything that pulls you away from your truth. And because of that, your life begins to respond differently. You attract differently. You choose differently. You move differently. This is the opening. Not just external, but internal. And when both begin to align, that is when real change happens. Archangel Michael steps forward and says, their next chapter has already begun. They are walking into it now. So do not doubt this moment. Do not think nothing is happening just because you cannot see everything yet. Some of the most important movements happen quietly. And right now, your life is moving. There is a question your heart has asked many times. Why did it take so long? Why did things feel delayed? Why did things feel heavy? Why did clarity feel so far away? These questions are real, and they deserve an answer. Archangel Michael speaks gently. Nothing they went through was wasted. Every moment had a purpose. At first, that can be hard to accept, because when you are in the middle of confusion, it does not feel purposeful. It feels frustrating. It feels unfair. It feels like you are being held back while everything else moves forward. But now, you are in a position to understand something deeper. You were not being held back. You were being prepared. If you choose to trust that everything you went through had a purpose, type Amen below. Let this be your agreement with divine timing and your acceptance of the season you are now stepping into. You learned patience, not because you wanted to wait, but because you had to. You learned awareness, because you had to recognize what felt right and what didn't. You learned resilience, because you had to keep going even when things didn't make sense. And most importantly, you learned yourself, who you are, what you value, what you will no longer accept. Archangel Michael says, they are not the same person who started this journey. And that is exactly why the timing matters. Because if certain things had come into your life earlier, you would not have seen them clearly. You might have accepted less. You might have chosen differently. You might have stayed where you were not meant to stay. But now, you see. You understand. You recognize. And that changes everything. Archangel Michael whispers, they are ready now. Not before, now. If you know deep down that this is your time, subscribe right now. Let this be your act of obedience that keeps you aligned with what is unfolding in your life. Let that truth settle in your heart. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. Every delay had a reason. Every pause had a purpose. Every challenge had something to teach you. And now, all of those pieces are coming together. This is the moment where things begin to make sense, where you look back and realize nothing was random, nothing was wasted. Everything was leading you here. Even the pain, even the confusion, even the moments you wanted to give up. They all shaped you. They all prepared you. They all brought you to this exact point. Archangel Michael says, their story is shifting now. What once felt heavy will now begin to feel meaningful. This is where transformation becomes real, not just in your situation, but in your understanding. You no longer see your past as something that held you back. You begin to see it as something that built you. And when that shift happens, you stop carrying the weight. You stop questioning your journey. You stop wondering why me, because you begin to understand. It was shaping you for something greater. And now, you are stepping into that something. But there is one more thing you must hold on to. Do not rush this next phase. Do not try to force everything to happen at once, because what is coming into your life is meant to last. And things that are meant to last build with stability, with clarity, with alignment, with purpose. Archangel Michael says, "Let it unfold. What is meant for them will not miss them." So instead of chasing, receive. Instead of forcing, allow. Instead of fearing, trust. Now that you understand what has been happening, now that you can feel the shift within you, there is something important you need to protect: your alignment. Because reaching this point is powerful, but staying in it is what truly changes your life. Archangel Michael speaks clearly. They have crossed into alignment. Now they must remain aware. This does not mean you have to be perfect. It does not mean you will never feel doubt again. It simply means you must stay conscious of what you allow into your energy, because now you are more sensitive to what is right and what is not. You can feel it. When something aligns, it feels calm. When something doesn't, it feels heavy. That feeling is your guide. For a long time, you may have ignored it. You may have stayed in situations that didn't feel right. You may have accepted things that drained you. You may have pushed forward even when your spirit was telling you to pause. But now, you cannot ignore it the same way, because your awareness has grown. Archangel Michael says, they will know. Their spirit will speak clearly now. So listen, not to noise, not to pressure, not to fear, but to that quiet inner knowing. That is where your guidance is. And here's something else you must understand. Not everything that comes into your life from now on is meant to stay. Just because something appears does not mean it belongs. Your role is not to accept everything. Your role is to discern, to recognize what feels aligned, what feels forced, what feels peaceful, what feels draining, and choose accordingly. This is how you protect your path. Archangel Michael steps forward and says, do not return to what has already been cleared from their life. This is important because sometimes when things begin to shift, old patterns try to return. Old thoughts, old habits, old connections, not because they are meant for you, but because they are familiar. And familiarity can feel comfortable, even when it is not good for you. But you are not in that place anymore. You have outgrown it. So if something from your past tries to pull you back into confusion, pause, feel it, and ask yourself honestly, does this align with who I am becoming? If the answer is no, you already know what to do. Archangel Michael says, they are not meant to repeat the same cycle. They have moved beyond it. This is your power now. Choice with awareness. Not reaction, not impulse, but clear, grounded choice. And as you continue to choose alignment, your life continues to open. More clarity, more peace, more opportunities that actually feel right. But here is the key. Do not rush. You do not need to figure everything out at once. You do not need to have all the answers immediately. You only need to stay present, because alignment is not about knowing everything. It is about trusting the next step. Archangel Michael whispers, one step in alignment is more powerful than many steps in confusion. So slow down, breathe, stay aware of what you feel. Because the more you stay in this state, the more your life begins to flow naturally. And that flow is where your next chapter fully begins. This is where everything becomes real. Not just something you understand, but something you begin to live. Because your path is no longer something far away. It is here, now. Archangel Michael speaks with strength and calm. They are stepping into their next chapter. The waiting season is ending. Feel that truth. For so long, it felt like you were waiting, waiting for clarity, waiting for change, waiting for something to finally move. But now, you are no longer waiting. You are entering. If you are stepping into a new chapter with clarity and strength, like this video now, let this be your declaration that you are no longer waiting. You are walking into what is yours. This next phase of your life is different. Not because everything will suddenly become perfect, but because you are different. You see more clearly. You feel more deeply. You understand more honestly. And that changes how you walk your path. You are no longer moving blindly. You are moving with awareness. And when you move with awareness, you avoid what is not meant for you. You recognize what is. And that is how your life begins to align in a real, lasting way. Archangel Michael says, "Their time of confusion is ending. Their time of clarity has begun." This does not mean you will never face challenges again. But it does mean you will face them differently, with strength, with understanding, with trust in yourself. Because now you know something you didn't fully know before. You are guided, not lost, not forgotten, not behind, guided. Every step you take from here is supported, even if you cannot see it fully, even if you do not understand every detail. There is direction in your path now, and you will feel it in your decisions, in your instincts, in the quiet moments where you just know what feels right. Archangel Michael whispers, they are not alone in this. They are being led. So trust that. Trust what feels calm. Trust what feels clear. Trust what brings you peace instead of pressure. Because your path is no longer about proving anything. It is about aligning with what is already meant for you. And here is something beautiful. What is meant for you is already moving toward you. You do not have to chase it. You do not have to force it. You do not have to worry about missing it, because alignment does not miss. Archangel Michael says, what is theirs will arrive. It is already on its way. So instead of chasing, receive. Instead of forcing, allow. Instead of fearing, trust. This is how you step fully into your new path, not with pressure, but with presence. And as you continue walking forward like this, you will begin to notice something powerful. Life feels lighter. Decisions feel clearer. Opportunities feel natural. This is what happens when you are aligned. And this is only the beginning. Take a deep breath. Slowly, gently, feel where you are right now. You made it to this moment. You stayed. You listened. You allowed yourself to be present. And that matters more than you realize. Because this was not just a message. This was a moment of alignment. A moment where something inside you shifted. A moment where clarity began to replace confusion. Archangel Michael speaks one final time. They have received what they needed. Now let them walk forward in truth. If you are ready to fully step into this new chapter with faith, clarity, and confidence, comment Amen right now. Let this be your final confirmation that you receive what has been spoken and you are walking forward in alignment. You are not the same as you were before this. Even if it feels subtle, something has changed. And that change will continue to unfold in your thoughts, in your decisions, in the way you move forward from here. Remember this, you are not behind. You are not late. You are not lost. You are exactly where you need to be. And from this point on, things begin to move differently, with more clarity, with more peace, with more alignment. So carry this with you. Not as something you heard, but as something you felt. Because what you felt here is real, and it will guide you forward. Stay aware, stay grounded, stay open, and trust that what is meant for you is already finding its way to you. And your next chapter has already begun. Before you leave, share this message with someone who needs clarity and strength. When you do, you extend this blessing beyond yourself, and what you release to others returns to you multiplied.